In Flash CS5, the text layout framework is the preferred method for working with text. However, there are some situations where you won't be able to use the text layout framework. I mentioned earlier in this chapter that the text layout framework needs to use Flash Player 10 and ActionScript 3.0. For some projects, you may have to publish to an earlier version of the Flash Player or an earlier version of ActionScript. In those situations, you cannot use the text layout framework, so you'll have to use the Classic Text Engine. So for that purpose, I'm going to briefly cover how to use the Classic Text Engine in Flash. So on the stage here, I have some text layout framework text. I'm going to select it, and then I'm going to convert this to Classic Text by using the drop-down menu for Text Engine at the top of the Properties panel. So I'll change the engine to Classic Text, and you can see that the font renders a little bit differently. I use the text layout framework to auto-capitalize all the text. Now, since that setting is not available in Classic Text, I'll have to manually capitalize all of this text. So I can use caps lock and type Taste of California. I'll press the Escape key. I'll select the California text. I'll shrink down the text of California a little bit, and then I'll select Taste of, and I'll expand that size of that text a little bit. So now Taste of matches the width of California. You'll notice that most of the settings in Classic Text are the same as Text Layout Framework. There's just less settings that you can change. One thing to note is how Flash shows a fixed width text field in Classic Text. If I double click inside of the text field, you'll see that there's a box at the top right. So that indicates fixed width. If I double click the box, it converts to variable width. And notice that you'll see a circle there. So it's the same as the Text Layout Framework. It's just at the top instead of at the bottom. There's one more thing to demonstrate in Classic Text, and that's the text field types. So there's static text, dynamic text, and input text. Static text is for text you just want to display in Flash, and it can be made selectable. Dynamic text is made primarily for text that can be edited using ActionScript code, and input text is used in forms because it's editable. So again, the text layout framework is the preferred method, but you can switch to Classic Text if you have to target a lower version of the Flash Player or ActionScript by selecting a text field and choosing the Classic Text Engine in the Properties panel.